Hi, everybody. So, listen, I wanted to talk to you guys today about the church and orgasms because the church has made them out to be like this horrible sin thing, and it's made it so uncomfortable for a lot of us believers that when we get into our marriages, we're having a really hard time fully coming out and like expressing ourselves in front of our husbands. And so I wanted to help everyone. Hi, Casey. Hi, Nami. Hi, Journey 1965. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And listen, as you stay on, I'm actually going to give you guys 10 reasons why you want to orgasm. And it's all for the health benefits of it, okay? So as you listen, you can take notes. And then I also wanted to let you guys know, like, after you hear the list, if you're like, okay, that's cool and everything, but like, how do I even orgasm? I've never orgasmed. I have such a hard time orgasming, or I get embarrassed in front of my husband and I just don't feel comfortable. Can you actually help me to orgasm? If that's you, please reach out to me, because I do have a mini course all on masturbation, orgasms, self-pleasuring, helping your husband to know like what turns you on so that you guys can come together and have a really powerful experience. And so if you need help in that way, please reach out. My mini course and even my big coaching programs are all taught from a Christian perspective, because that's me. And I actually grew up in a very strict household, and I talk about this a lot on Clubhouse. If you guys have been following me over there, like, you guys have heard my story. Like, our household was, sex was a dirty word. My mom freaked out when one of my doctors said, have you tried masturbation to help you through my parents' divorce? Like, she freaked out and she never took me back to that doctor. And so there's a lot of stigma around this, and I am here to help bring normalcy to this conversation, because guess what? It is normal. It is normal, and it's beautiful. And it's supposed to be for pleasure. And it's supposed to be this amazing thing that does not carry any shame or guilt with it. It's our world that has brought the shame and the guilt and all of that stuff, which is then leaving us very confused, especially if you're a follower of God. You're like, well, what can I even do in the bedroom? I feel so like dirty, even with my husband. And that's not okay. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm out here talking about this stuff all the time, because what we've actually been taught, I feel, is a blatant lie. Like, it is. And it's actually caused a lot of, it's almost like an abuse of shame, to where we're having a really hard time even grasping the fact that sex is okay with our marriage partner. And God never made it to be like that, you guys. In Genesis 2:25, it actually says, and the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. So that's the initial creation of how God intended sex to be. Okay? All right. So hopefully that helps with my background. So let me give you guys, I talked about this today on Clubhouse, and all of these tips, like all the main health benefits of orgasms, this actually went off today on Clubhouse. There were so many women that were like, wow, I had no idea. And so I thought I would go live here today on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm even on Snapchat right now. And I'm just sharing these because I really want you guys to see how amazing that this is, okay? So if you have a pen and paper, this would be a really cool time to take some notes so that you guys have these for later, okay? All right, so number 1, having orgasms are like nature's Xanax, okay? As anyone who's ever like had an orgasm, it seriously has this calming, sedating power behind it. It's because when you climax, it triggers these surges of oxytocin and prolactin, which are very powerful, relaxing hormones. And so combined with the endorphins released during sex, it can actually leave you super sleepy. And so if you are on Xanax and you want to get off Xanax, I would actually recommend to have more orgasms. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And I actually, in my 30s, I really struggled a lot with insomnia. And when I found this out when I was going to sex school, I was like, oh, you know what? I wonder if I can supplement self-pleasuring or having sex with my husband in place of taking my nighttime pill to help me go to sleep. And sure enough, for me on a personal level, it did help to the point where I have no longer needed, for like 10 years now, sleeping pills, which you guys know if you've ever taken a sleeping pill, how like horrible you feel the next day, right? So for me to not have that hangover, you better believe I'm actually going to, either self-pleasure or make sure that Chuck and I are coming together so that I can fall asleep a lot easier, okay? So that's number one. It's kick-ass, right? Number two, you guys, this is big if you're a woman, okay? When you have an orgasm, blood and nutrients rush to your vagina, which helps keep things in shape down there, right? And there's actual studies that have shown that women who orgasm once a week or more are likely to have regular menstrual cycles every month, like every 28 to 30 days, in comparison to those women that have had irregular sex, okay? So I used to be on the birth control pill a long time ago just to help me regulate my periods because mine were like all over the place. And my family actually has a history of that. And so my doctor decided to try me on several birth control pills to help with that. But I had horrible reactions to birth control pills. And so what I noticed is when I started to have more regular orgasms, that my cycle just regulated by itself. And so that's number two. So if you have irregular cycles, girlfriends, like legit make sure that you're orgasming at least once a week. If not, I would do it more than like 2 to 3 times at least, because you're going to see how amazing these other health benefits are. Okay. Are you guys excited? Like, to me, all of this stuff that I'm learning, and by the way, this is like stuff I teach inside my sex courses, and my, as I'm coaching women, I'm like encouraging them, go have that orgasm. Look at my school says these are the things it's going to help with. Okay. So that was number two. All right. Number three, they are good. So we're talking about orgasms. I see some new people. Hi, Wendy. So orgasms are amazing for your heart. They actually lower your cortisol levels, which is one of the healthiest things that you can actually do for yourself, right? I mean, you guys all know when you have elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. So cortisol is the stress hormone, okay? If you have elevated levels of cortisol in your body, it has been linked to everything from suppressed immunity to heart disease. So like orgasm, so that you can make sure that you have a healthy heart, okay? And you can actually push out these stress hormones. Somebody take notes. Yeah, and you know what? I think this is going to be saved to my page. I think I could save it. So you can actually go back and watch this later. But yeah, this is like really, really good. Like this is really, really good stuff. Also, if you're on here and you need help with orgasming, with masturbation, with teaching your husband, parts of the body that stimulates you so that he can then give you the orgasms, when you guys come together, and he'll be able to help it come down faster. I actually have a full mini blown course just on masturbation. It's a 2-hour. I'm giving like tips and tricks. I literally am like laying on my bed showing you positions, showing you stuff with my hand, like all of these different things. I'm all clothed, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's an amazing, amazing course. And I've actually had so many testimonies just from that particular course. So if that's something that you need, like the how-to, and you want it from the Christian perspective, and so you want to like get more comfortable with this sex conversation, just reach out to me and ask me about that, and I can actually share how that works and how you can purchase it. Okay, so we kind of talked about this, but orgasms increase intimacy. So, and this kind of like boils down to the oxytocin that we were talking about a little bit ago. So when you have an orgasm, it creates, like when you're with a partner, it creates these cuddle hormones, right? It's like a surge of a cuddle hormone. You want to like, oh, baby, I love you so much. Thank you so much. That was so amazing. I'm so thankful to God for you, and like all that kind of stuff, right? So having an orgasm, it actually can deepen the intimacy because it creates that cuddle hormone after you, for whoever just gave you the orgasm. Or if you gave it to yourself, you can actually hug yourself and say thank you. So that was number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're on number 5. I love this one. Orgasms actually make you prettier and younger looking. I mean, I have wrinkles, but not a lot. I actually, you know what, like 4 years ago, when my kids were still living at home, one of my boys was a smoker, and he would have me go into the smoke shop and buy him the cigarettes, and they actually carded me, you guys. They carded me in my mid-40s. And I am attributing that young look to all the exercise that I do. Hi, honey. All the exercise that I do and all the orgasming that I make sure that I do on myself. I do it to myself a lot, and when my husband and I come together. So, I mean, who doesn't want to like look prettier? And that actually is because of the human growth hormone, which is released during orgasm, which I'm totally getting sciencey on you guys, which I hardly ever do, but it's so cool. It actually stimulates collagen and could actually make your skin appear more supple. Oh my God, so much fun. Okay, the next one. So this is now number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is number 6. Okay, this is really cool. If you guys have ever wanted a flatter stomach, orgasms will actually help that, okay? Because when you orgasm, the muscles in your pelvic region, they contract and release, right? So contract, release, contract, release, contract. So it actually tones the pelvic floor. And as you guys know, as a woman, the pelvic floor is essential for everything from core strength to bladder control. And it helps with like when you are having intercourse, you can actually pull back. You can do that Kegel almost exercise as your husband is trying to think how this works. So it's like he goes in, and then as he's going out, if you suction it, it tightens around his penis, and it just gives so much pleasure for him and you. It actually feels really, really, really good. So that was number 6. All right, number 7. This is why you need orgasms in your life, okay? They can actually make you smarter, all right? So you guys, I'm 48, and this is like around the age where you could like lose your keys. You can't remember what you're supposed to do that day. You're on the freeway and you take a wrong turn and you're like, oh my God, I wasn't even aware I was driving for like the last 10 minutes or whatever, okay? You actually need to do things to stimulate your brain so that you can stay smart, right? So that's why a lot of people will play like Sudoku or, different brain games, right? But orgasms can help you guys with that too, because orgasms actually increases, oh, hi, Dr. Zibli, hi. It actually increases blood flow to all parts of the brain. So orgasms increase blood flow to all parts of the brain, whereas most activities only increase blood flow to certain parts of the brain. So if you actually want to like light yourself up, oh my gosh. And guess what is so like, it's kind of awkward, but kind of cool at the same time. There was some researchers that actually put women through an MRI machine, and she was like orgasming herself or whatever, and they actually saw like her brain light up on the screen that they were watching her on. So it literally makes you smarter. It literally adds brain fuel. Okay. Also, so this is now number 7. I think this is 8. They are painkillers. So orgasms are painkillers, you guys. The post-orgasm oxytocin and endorphin surge can relieve pain. Now, I do want to say, and I think we talked about periods up above, so as far as it helping to regulate your cycle, but I wanted to say this too, because when I'm on my period, I don't know about you guys, and you can let me know in the comments if you have any like female issues, but I have had fibroids over the years. I know some people have endometriosis or other things that can cause heavy bleeding and heavy cramping and clotting and all that kind of stuff, right? So imagine this. You're on your period. The Advil's not working. You maybe have a heat pad or whatever, right? What if you actually self-pleasured yourself and brought yourself that orgasm? Yes, it's going to be, dirty, and it might feel weird because it's messy and all that kind of stuff. But if it could bring you pain relief, like, wouldn't you want to try it? And I know some Christians are like, no sex during your period. There's even, this thought process from the Old Testament where the men did not even touch their woman because it, in their minds, was impure. But scientifically wise, if your husband inserts you and you're having cramps while you're on your period, he can actually bring you relief. So his insertion, and also when you orgasm, it will bring you a huge amount of release from that pain and from the clotting. And I've also heard that it could lessen the time that you're on your period. So like, why would you guys not want to try it, right? And if it's kind of like a spiritual thing for you, just come before God and ask him. This is all going to be different for every person. I do this if my period cramps are super bad, but you might not be comfortable with it yet. But maybe you can open yourself up to it a little bit and just pray about it and see if there's any, weirdness, that God is having you feel in your spirit. If he says no, and you feel that definite no, then yeah, don't do it if that's like your walk with God, right? But if you're feeling like, well, maybe I could be open to it, but you're maybe, or like the no, if it's coming from shame or guilt because you don't know if God's going to approve or those kind of things, then I would say at least open yourself up to it, because that right there, those types of feelings could actually be coming from your church upbringing or cultural upbringing, which is completely separate from God literally speaking to you. Okay, and so I just want to mention that just in case there's any women out there that might be having those thoughts. Okay, the last one, obviously orgasms feel really, really good. And so those are the top 10 health benefits to having an orgasm. And again, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because there's so much stigma in the church about self-pleasuring, masturbation, if you want to say the actual word, having sex on your period, just orgasming in general. And it's put the people in the church, or even culture, or even just women in general, because we as women over the years have been looked at as these like sex objects, and that the sex is just for the man, and that sex is not for the woman, and it's not meant for women to have pleasure. And so there's like a lot of these stigmas out there that have come from our generations, that's been passed down from either the church or from like our parents or media. And so it's up to us, you guys, to actually break those generational stigmas, because in the Bible and with God, I mean, if you really lay prostrate before him and you ask, I guarantee you, he is not going to make you feel bad about having an orgasm. I mean, he gave us the clit. He gave us the clit, you guys. Do you guys know how many nerve endings are in the clitoris alone? There's over 8,000 nerve endings in the clitoris alone. And do you think that if God created us to have that clitoris and he's got that nerve endings, the 8,000 nerve endings, do you think that it would be wrong in his eyes for us to actually touch ourselves and bring us that pleasure if he actually gave it to us? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I started to question all of this stuff myself, and I could just come to tears right now over this, because I was held in bondage for years, all the way until I was 44 over this stuff. I never touched myself. I literally, like, when I was in dance class for a while, and the dance teacher wanted us to, like, graze our breasts as part of the move, I would be like, and I would stop, you know? And it's because of this whole, like, shame and guilt and me feeling like I was going to lose my salvation or something, you know? And that's not how God is with this whole sex thing. He created it to experience pleasure and for it to be beautiful, without shame, without guilt. And it's so good, you guys. And when you're married and you have God in your life and you guys are both like believers, and then you come together and then you both orgasm, like the soul experience that you actually have in that moment is so beautiful, because you actually feel the presence of God and it becomes this spiritual experience. It's amazing. It is amazing. So, a spiritual being, I feel a message, not sure. Oh, yeah. Kimberly. Oh, hi, Kimberly. Kimberly, I haven't talked to you in so long. So, Kimberly says, as a spiritual being, I follow messages, not church, which follows messenger. Oh, yeah. Like source. Yeah. And I agree with that for sure. Like, it's all on how you feel inside. And when you are a believer, you do have God's spirit in you. And so you literally have direct access to even ask him, like, how do you feel about this? And I took that time at 44. I started to question everything that I was raised up in, because I started to feel like, okay, like, I have this pleasure sense, and if it was wrong, you wouldn't have given it to me. And I would have thoughts like, okay, I'm married now, and I should be able to feel free in my spirit about being able to do whatever I want in the bedroom. But why do I feel guilty about it? And I'm married. And then I'd read the scripture, like, about how the marriage bed is undefiled, which led me to, believe that, like, we could do whatever we want as long as, like, we felt God's spirit and approval, and we wanted to both do those things, right? So I really started to question things at 44, and the more that I started to question, the more that I actually asked God about those things, I actually felt like he was waiting for me to ask all along, and he was waiting for that so that he could say yes, like, I completely approve, and now, Heather, you need to go around and teach other women, because it shouldn't be uncomfortable. There should be no stigma, no taboo. It should just be natural for us to be completely fine with sex, especially when we're married, right? So I hope that this has helped you guys. Let me see what Dr. Zubili said. This is so completely relatable. I think this is something seen as a stigma in so many churches. Yep, very, very true. And also, what I learned in school as well is there's, like, and I can't remember what it was called, ISIS or something, I forget, or Einenberg. There's a country where it's like extreme conservative, where, like, they don't even touch, like, they don't do any oral. So, I mean, some of these things are cultural based, different countries, right? And then some of these things are from the church, and then some of these things are just, our parents were raised like that, so now they're teaching us, and then it goes where we're talking to our kids about it. But like, I would love to get to this place where even like kids can even feel comfortable, knowing all the actual proper scientific words, and we're not glossing over and giving them like cutesy names like cookie or something, but we're actually calling it for what it is, so that they don't have any stigma, or taboo or weirdness around it too, So, okay, so I hope that you guys have enjoyed that. I'm going to keep this live on my page. So if you want to go backwards to get the 10 health benefits of having an orgasm, you'll be able to do that. And then again, if you are maybe you're like, you know what, I just really want to learn more about self-pleasuring, masturbation. But I feel like I've been carrying around this shame and guilt over touching my body for whatever reason. It could come from wherever, right? We've learned today. But I really want to open myself up to it because, 8,000 nerve endings on just the clit, like, wow, maybe I should open myself up to believing that it's okay and that God made it for good and for my pleasure and to experience that. So if you are open to it and you would like to actually find out some information about my masturbation course, it's $197 and you have it for life, and it teaches you everything you could ever want to know about our bodies as a woman, about where to touch, different positions as far as how to, position your body, different tools and different types of music, and oh my God, just so many types of meditations and so many different things that will actually help you to have an orgasm, have multiple orgasms. You'll be able to actually teach your partner, like, scientific wise, if you touch here, it's going to do more for me than if you go over there, those kinds of things. So you taking this mini course will actually help you guys as a couple to have more explosive sex. So just DM me and we can talk about that. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow, if you're on Clubhouse, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific on Clubhouse, we are going to be talking all about erotic communication during sex. So what kinds of things can we say to our partner? What do they actually want to hear? Because men have certain things that they actually want to hear. And if we're not saying them, you could actually be, not having the most amount of explosive sex that you possibly can. So if you can come tomorrow, it's in the Sexless to Sexified Club on Clubhouse at 11 a.m. Pacific, and I hope to see you guys there. But otherwise, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you guys so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.